If you want to allow your users to access their corporate data securely on their personal smartphones, but don't want to enroll their devices fully under management, stay tuned because I'm going to show you the exact policies you can configure that actually achieves both outcomes. Before we dive in here, just a quick introduction. My name's Nick. I'm a Microsoft MVP. I've been creating content here in the channel for a better half of a decade. So as IT professionals, we get the request all the time about more flexibility around data access, no greater than on the go, given users want to access applications like Outlook and Teams for collaboration with internal and external users. We have a lot of uneasiness about this though, because we know nothing about those devices. They could be jailbroken, they could be lost or stolen, which leaves corporate data at risk. On the flip side, if we tell the users we want to enroll their personal smartphones into our IT management solution, often where their mind turns is that we can actually read their text messages or see their images and other personal data, which really isn't true, but there's going to be a lot of pushback when you try to offer up that as a solution. So what we're actually going to look at is the blend of both of those. We can actually control access at the application layer while not fully managing and enrolling the device into our IT MDM solution. When I say MDM, I'm talking about mobile device management, and that's part of the Intune offering from Microsoft. You get that as part of Business Premium when you sign up for that as a small business. But Intune also includes what's known as MAM, or Mobile Application Management, that actually allows us to do this application protection on the devices themselves, so we're not actually enrolling and in control of that full device, or we have wipe capabilities. We actually control access on that application layer, and we can actually wipe data remotely, which I'm going to show you how to do as part of this video. Okay guys, if you've been following along the last few weeks, you know I've been doing this little mini series on secure device access. So today we're double clicking into the last managed policy here. I'll be sure to link below the little video playlist if you haven't seen these other videos yet. But we're looking into the required client approved apps for the MAM policies today and or enrolled mobile devices. So really when you think about this, again, we're trying to find that balance between, do we need to enroll their device fully for mobile device management? We're talking about personal devices versus corporate owned Android or iOS devices. There's a little bit of a bifurcation there. But today we're really honing in on the MAM policies. So let's pivot into the Intune Admin Center so we can start to see how to set up an app protection policy. Within the Intune Admin Center, we're going to go into the app section and we're going to go into this app protection policies. Notice I already have some created because I've been testing a lot, always do. But here under the create policy, you have ones for iOS, iPad, and then Android that we're going to be double clicking on today, specifically iOS. I'm not actually going to go through Android just for the sake of time for this video. You'll get the basics here and a lot of it translates to Android. The one thing that we'll want to do here, usually what I do is I click on all Microsoft apps or core Microsoft apps for this particular setting, just because it allows us to target, the main applications a user would be leveraging, such as Teams and Outlook with that. So I don't really have a preference on either. I don't think either is restrictive. If you did have third-party applications you wanted to add, you could do all apps or selected apps. That allows you to expand scope. But for the default customer or the average customer, I think all Microsoft apps works great. And then these are some of the data protection settings. Again, for the sake of time, I'm not going to go through all of these, but I'm going to highlight some of the popular ones or the ones I think are the most effective from a security perspective. Here we have backup org data to iTunes and iCloud backups. So we're going to say block for this guy. And then send org data to other apps. We're going to say policy managed apps, which is what's in scope here, right? So all of our Microsoft apps, save copies of org data. We're going to block that. And then we can allow them to save it to, something like OneDrive for Business or SharePoint as an example, because that's another approved application within our ecosystem, not Box or local storage or the photo library. So you don't want anything of that nature. Receive data from other apps. Usually say policy managed apps for this as well too. Restrict cut, copy, and paste between apps. And then it's going to be policy managed apps with paste in. We're going to require encryption of that data. Another big one here, I think, for a lot of compliance frameworks. Printing of org data, we're going to block that. And then sync policy managed app data with native apps or add-ins, we're going to block that as well. And then for the next one here, you can require additional authentication. And usually the one that's least intrusive, that's real native, is allowing the Face ID instead of the PIN for access. If they don't have Face ID for any reason, Then you can set, the PIN, which you can set a minimum length, and they can type that in as part of additional authentication to get into the app. It's not going to prompt them from that every time, but as you can see here, you have a certain level of minutes of inactivity. And then you can set the PIN to reset, which I don't typically do. It's just like, requiring a password change now as a best recommended practice. This account credentials, having them sign in is pretty intrusive and it's pretty disruptive. I wouldn't say intrusive, I'd say more disruptive than anything, because it's requiring them to type in their username and password. And that's not something we really want for the use case here. We want them to still easily access this, but have that light touch point of security there. And then from here, we also have this conditional launch, which I'd never really typically change these periods or settings here, which offline grace period, if it's offline for 90 days, we're just automatically going to wipe the data, which I think is great, because then, they can always get it back. It's not wiping the data completely from their ecosystem. It's just on that application, on that device. If they were to sign back in again, they would hit that data syncing back down. So there's not anything like that that's intrusive, but also this jailbroken and rooted devices are automatically going to block access. So that's another great setting, just so we don't have really risky devices coming into our ecosystem. And then the final settings here related to groups and exclusions. So I'm not going to select this for this tenant, but typically you would do, all members within your organization for this particular policy so that you're protecting applications across all users. I don't really see a concern for that. Talk about some of the gotchas later, from end user frustrations, things like that I typically see. But this is something that you can designate, and then you just go through next. And you'll notice here, whenever you have, the all Microsoft apps set up, you see all these links for what's in there. And you'll notice also, it's interesting, they have things like Zoom included as part of that. So you can review that before you deploy it live, but I've never had any problems just doing all Microsoft apps with the core Microsoft apps as part of that. And then you can click on create to finish up this policy. The next policy we're going to look at implementing is what I always refer to as layer 2 protections. So you could just push out the application protection policy, and that will protect the data on applications like Outlook and Teams. But that's not going to prevent the user from doing things like adding their account to the local and native mail application client on an iOS or Android device. And the same thing with calendar and all that. So this layer 2 protection actually forces them into that actual experience of going to Outlook or going to Teams in lieu of the native mail app client. And I think that's just allowing you to have better protections really at the end of the day. But I will talk about and show you the end user experience with that, so you know how to get ahead of communications, because it is a little bit disruptive when they first go through that experience, especially if they already have their account connected. So within the Entra Admin Center, I'm just going to create a new policy here. And within this one, I'm just going to call it a 100 policy. I'm going to say require client approved app. And typically here you would select all users. I don't really care about a break glass account for this one because I'm specifically just targeting it on mobile. But they're always going to give you this warning as part of that. For the targeted resources here, we're going to say all cloud apps. And then in the conditions section, we're going to filter for the device platforms. Say yes for this, and we're going to include iOS and Android for the scope. And then under the grant controls, we're going to grant access, and then we're going to require an app protection policy. I always also like to, at this point in time, maybe by the time you're watching this video, this policy will have molded into this one as one. But for right now, I like to select both. But they're going to stop updating it here, as they mentioned in this little help desk article. So just be cognizant of that. The base one here is the app protection policy. But the basic thing here is if you look at this list of the client approved applications, it is a list of all of our Microsoft apps, and most volume you'll see is Microsoft Outlook and Microsoft Teams here for what users would be accessing. So once we're done with that, we can click on select here. And then, you get these warnings also about excluding device platforms. So I would not worry about that. And then we're going to proceed with this configuration and click create. So now that we have these policies stood up, let's take a look at the experience the end user has whenever they go to the native mail client, as well as logging into the Outlook application for the first time, so you can see how these policies apply. Here we have a user on their iOS device, and they're going to go into the mail client, and they're going to go ahead and try to add an account for their work account here. So they're going to select Microsoft Exchange and sign in. After successful sign-in though, you see they get this message here that says you can't get in from here. This used to be actually a better experience where we direct them to the iOS store, but they've changed that in lieu of this help desk article. And I'm not a huge fan because it's really just about a blanket level conditional access policy set that they're not going to understand what's going on and they'll reach out to you. Next, whenever the user is navigating to a client approved app, here we're seeing Outlook as an example and adding their account here. And I already had one in the past, but I'm going to go ahead and try to sign in again here with this account. When I do get this message here that says your organization is now protecting this application and needs to restart. So they're going to have to do that and just restart the app. And then it's checking the app status here, as you can see. From there, it says protecting this app. So this is where it's applying that conditional access policy and also the app protection policy for all the settings that we configured. And then the user is going through the normal experience they would see typically on that device. So beyond the end user experience that you just saw there, the other gotchas I want to call out there that might create some support desk tickets or further frustrations that I've gotten in other customer implementations is really related to some unique staff members being really sensitive to you taking away their access to the native mail and calendar application on an iOS device. As an example, they usually like that blended in with their personal Gmail. While that's not the best security practice, you'd have a hard time fighting mostly the executive members who want that level of access. And that's the most frequent that I've seen in the customer implementations that we've done. So number one, obviously you want to get ahead of the communications and the security behind the reasoning for that. But if you still get a lot of pushback, I really try to go down one of two routes. First route is really just to enroll those devices fully. Just say, hey, if you want to still use the native mail and calendar application, that's okay. We just want to make sure that your device is protected. And if you still get pushback there, which is definitely something I've run into as well, the second thing you'll want to do is just create a small exclusion group within Entra and exclude those users from the conditional access policy. I say the conditional access policy versus the app protection policy because we can still have the app protection policy in place and allow for data protection on those applications, but the conditional access policy is really what's preventing them from accessing the native mail client. So we're just creating that basic exclusion and getting the widest footprint as possible for the other users within the organization. The last thing I want to show you guys is how to create a selective wipe request. So if you ever get a user that loses their phone or has it stolen, they report that to you, or most likely, this is a much more volume play, as you add this to your SOP and your offboarding process for employee termination or employee leave. And you're basically going to go here and you're going to create a wipe request and you're going to select the user here and you're going to type in their name or their UPN. And then from there, that'll recognize, the device name and the device type if they've registered or, enrolled the device in the MAM policy, basically just that Outlook sign-in that I showed you just before here. And you can click on create there, and then it'll go ahead and send that remote wipe request to the device and remove the company data from the smartphone. Okay guys, that's everything I had for you in today's video. Definitely subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content around Microsoft and the MSP space. And if you missed last week's video on securing device access for guest users, definitely check that out. And I'll see you guys next week.